Hello, and welcome back, subscribers and new viewers, to another Sunday Speed Paint. Today, I'm going to be drawing and talking about the legendary Pokemon Koraidon. Endgame spoilers for Pokemon Scarlet ahead. If you don't mind spoilers or have already completed the game, let's talk about it. Firstly, I love that these games break the tradition of the two-boxed legendaries fighting against each other, and also there is no mystery third Pokemon involved in this, in the case of X and Y, or Sword and Shield, as an example. I really like this, but I was confused because when we got to the end of the game, I thought that perhaps our legendary Pokemon was going up against Pokemon Violet's legendary Pokemon, but no, it is not a case of one is good and one is evil. It is a case of one is more docile and the other Koraidon that we find at the end of the game is territorial and aggressive, which begs the question, and me trying to fill in the storyline of how prepared was the professor that they made an AI to look out for their work if something happened to them, and did it turn out to be that perhaps the professor caught both of these Koraidon, released them from their Pokeballs, and the more aggressive one jumped after the more docile one, not wanting to share the same space as them, and the professor jumps in the way and stops this from happening, and perhaps the AI then gifts the more passive Koraidon to Arven as a gift, and he hates this because this is probably like maybe one of the few instances where the mom talked to them but doesn't understand, and even they explain they've had suspicions that it looked like their mom but wasn't their mom, and all that Arven has seen is from time to time the computer screen of their mom doing their research to no end. And the same would even go for Pokemon Violet. Their dad went off into the future and the same thing happened, leaving behind two AI parents that could look after them. Instead, the legendary Pokemon Koraidon is probably what was meant to look out for him, and also continue the professor's research to an extent. We find the legendary Pokemon on the beach, and I find this interesting. As we progress, they bond with not only us, but Arven in a way of apology, but also, I think that at the endgame it gives us more of a reason to side with our Koraidon, and it made me cry to think that this Pokemon didn't want this to happen, and I think you should play this game for yourself to really experience it. But that is the end of the speed paint portion of today's video, but let's pick up where we left off with my Pokemon Scarlet gameplay. Picking up where we left off last time, I am now at the Elite Four, after doing a little bit of an interview and passing the test from Rika, going from a secretary to strutting in with the confidence of 1,000 warriors. Honestly, I absolutely envy Rika, and I feel like Rika should have been the champion. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but honestly, I love Rika, and I really don't know why. I can't explain it. And then we have Poppy. Poppy's just the small child that I'm still baffled as to how they are an Elite Four member. I feel like there should be some rules here, but I sweep the floor with them with my overly powered Pokemon, and she sobs because she's a literal child. But then Larry pops up out of nowhere and gives us this amazing delivery after we defeat them. Like, what is this amazement? I didn't think that Larry would become so relatable. And then we have Hazel, who is like the grandpa, kind of the Elite Four member. I'm starting to get weird family friend vibes from all four of these Elite Four members, like they all know each other in their off time. And she even calls him Grandpa Hazel, and I think it's just so sweet. And Rika's just done with this. Larry's just like, I'm just here kind of moment. I don't know, I think it's interesting. And then we get to Gita, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce their name, and we win. I didn't take any screenshots of my fight because I got distracted. I was so happy to have the honor of being called a champion and watching as everyone cheered, and of course Hazel sobs again, and it's endearing. I love all these characters. But wait, Nemona's here because she wants to ask us if we've become champion, and then also asks us to be rivals for life. I said yes, and we go off to have our champions fight to see who's the better of the two, and honestly this cutscene is actually really well positioned. I like that where you choose dictates how the scene kind of rotates, and everyone is around you. You get the Elite Four members, townsfolk, everyone that you've kind of met along your journey for the most part I can see, and random townsfolk, all ready to see the two head champions. This feels like something that you would see in the Pokemon anime, and I love it. And although I was overpowered, it was fun fighting against Nimona because she did actually pack a punch this time, and I honestly thought, right here, everyone was aghast and gasping and shocked, and I thought we were going to have a little bit of a character development moment here with her finally breaking down and saying she really wanted to be the champion, but nope, she's fine. She is perfectly fine. She wants to challenge us again because she is just like, you are so incredibly strong, and you knocked me flat, and I think she's honestly just a tiny bit crazy, but she's like extra happy, friendly, and I don't know anyone who's like this, but honestly, I wouldn't mind being friends with her. I'd be a little shocked as well, but I don't know, if you had someone who was rivals for life, that seems about fair. I decided to also go through the whole Evolutions team thing. I don't know why, I don't have screenshots or pictures of all of them, but I do have all of them, gave them all nicknames, and then also evolved my shiny Pokemon so that you guys can see what they look like, and also we still have more story, as it's now time to continue the Zero Gate story with Arven. I don't know why it's called Zero Gate and not Gate Zero, but we find out that Penny and the whole gang is all here, and we get this very spooky interaction with Professor Sada announcing the students by their number, and Penny's just like, did you tell your mom about us? And she's just like, Mom, what's going on here? And her face, what have I gotten myself into? kind of face. And poor Koraidon doesn't want to be back here because of something traumatizing, but we have a friendship is the most powerful moment here, and they almost leave me behind as poor Koraidon jumps and gets spooked, but Arven helps us out, and Koraidon gets spooked and goes back into Pokeball. I don't blame them. And Penny notices that she's gone, and Nimona comes back, and she's just like, there's so many Pokemon here, and honestly, I fear for the Pokemon's sake, because Nimona is probably going to try to battle them all. I took a few scenic screenshots just for memory's sake, even though that's probably a jerk thing to do in such an intense, curious moment, but we do learn more about the monsters of Area Zero, and also that there's ancient Pokemon connected with the whole terastallizing phenomenon and everything, and Professor Sada mentions there was a bit of a cost and a catastrophe, and we're a bit skeptical. Here, I'm just confused, because she says, no one can return to the present. But, ma'am, how are you here? And then same would go for the other version of the game. For the future. This is very spooky and ominous, because then suddenly we have a glitched out moment here, and I'm thinking, is this just a recording of her? Because we've not seen her in person. All we're seeing is disheveled stuff. So she's stuck in the past and she left these messages, but it wouldn't make sense because she's also the professor, so she's clearly able to communicate. Before we can find out, we get a bit of an ambush by another Koraidon, and it's kind of intimidating stare, and something definitely isn't right. And then this. Nimona, please use a few more of your brain cells. That's not a family cuddly reunion when you're cowering in fear. Yes, Penny, I agree. Poor Koraidon is terrified. And the dangerous Pokemon, I do agree, would probably be the other Koraidon. But we don't have time to dawdle on this, as more of the wild ancient Pokemon come flooding out and attack us. So we have to tag team and take them all on. And as it's just down to the wire, Arven mentions that although this Koraidon ruined the childhood, doesn't want him to be beaten by the other jerk of a Koraidon and to kick their butt, and I agree. So Arven and the others take on the Pokemon while we go talk to Professor Sada, and it's very ominous, but as my suspicions were correct, apparently the real Professor Sada had passed away, and this is just an AI left to look out for everyone, and unfortunately, the other Koraidon, the more evil one, which for some reason Professor Sada still has in a Pokeball, is the one who was responsible for the actual Professor Sada's death, which is very tragic and very sad, and I don't think we've had a death like that in the Pokemon universe in quite a while. So having this AI explain that they want to stop themselves and stop this machine, even though it was Professor Sada's last wish to have this machine up and running, it does beg the question, does that mean all these Pokemon that are here now are stuck here? Because if we do complete this mission, that means that the Professor and all the other Pokemon in the past will stay there, except all of the present-day Pokemon, the past Pokemon that are trapped in the present. But anyways, story analysis for later. I had a 50-50 with my Pokemon being strong enough and getting knocked out. It was very difficult to defeat the Roaring Moon, and I still haven't found this Pokemon in my world. I'm still hunting for them. I swear it's like they're extinct, but thanks to my Pokemon Sapphire using a Fairy-type move, we finished them off and have defeated the AI, and it's really, really strange, this bit right here, where everyone comes in, they have no idea what's going on, and locked eyes with Arven, and is just so proud of how much their son's grown. I swear, there is either a soul or a lot of the personality of the mom in this, but before we have time to blink, it escalates because the system has a failure and does a double down on security and overrides Professor Sada in the most sad and shocking moment, terastalizing her legs and her hand a bit, and I can feel the raw emotion coming from this AI professor saying that, children, you need to run, this is too dangerous even for you, and Arven and I are all panicking like, what do we do? But before we can do anything, the protection protocol goes into action and the other Koraidon comes out, and we can't use our Pokemon, so we can't use the power of friendship and everyone to defeat this other Koraidon, so what we're left with is to ask for some assistance from our friend Koraidon. So it is a 1v1 Koraidon versus Koraidon battle, which this is a mouthful to say on repeat, saying Koraidon versus Koraidon, but with the power of our friends cheering us on, even with Professor AI Sada telling us that it is futile and we cannot win, we have the Terra Orb, and terastalizing is the only way that we can finish this, because we have the power to defeat them, and we use the Terra Blast, which is a dragon move, which is super, super effective with a one-hit knockout of all that health. And with that, we have defeated her again, for the second time, and I cried at this bit right here. I actually got choked up, because this now means that the AI Sada, the only remnants of Arven's mom, hasn't talked to him in years, just basically says goodbye and take care of yourselves. And Arven and I are just standing there so sad. It's just like, why would you abruptly leave your son behind like this? But the friend group is here to try to comfort Arven and kind of move forward with this, but it just makes me sad, because in all this time, and even in the other game, that means that both Arven's dad and mom decided to go off to the future and the past and not leave a word, even though they left two AI parents that could have helped and been there for him. It's so sad. And then Nimona brings the happiness back, at least by a little bit, by saying we'll take the long road home so that we can have fun and have one more adventure. And it's very touching, it's very heartwarming, but it's also very sad, and although it is sad for this ending, it is also a heartwarming kind of ending, because all of these team members that you've met along the way, you've grown a friendship towards, and although Nimona is my least favorite of the bundle, I definitely enjoyed the story of Penny and Arven and Koraidon. But first, we need to deal with the other Koraidon, because it's not complete until we capture this angry jerk, because of all of the torment that they have caused Arven, and for killing poor Arven's mom, Professor Sada, so you're getting the harshest treatment that I could possibly serve you. That's what you get, you jerk. You're sitting in timeout and you're gonna learn about the power of friendship. And if you guys have enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like, some comments, and share this video. It took me hours to piece together, and if you want more future Pokemon videos, I have some of the post-game activities, the 4 legendary Pokemon, and my other Pokemon teams, and lots of fan art in store for you all. Thanks for watching, Subscribblers. See you next time. That about wraps it up, folks. If you guys have enjoyed, don't forget I have playlists and a link tree down below for more, and if you want to help support this channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like to let YouTube know so we can reach a wider audience and grow the Subscribblers army. See you next time. Bye-bye.